Okay, so we'll try this again for part 2. My phone, lovely beast that she is, cut my crap off halfway through. So, anyhow, I was just getting ready. I guess we'll call this part 2. I don't know. So I was just getting ready to show you some of the features that I can see on this thing that I know I'm going to love. And one of them is this super huge carry handle. So carry handle being a misnomer, because with a machine this heavy, you don't ever want to risk the life of your machine on just a carry handle. So you would want to put your machine in a case, carry the case, or you would want to carry 2 hands underneath, that kind of thing. But anyhow, you can tell it's got a speed selection switch right here. It has an automatic thread cutter, which I have never used before, and I'm quite excited to figure out how that works. Needle up down, which when you sew, it will make your needles stay down into your fabric, into your project, every single time that you stop stitching, or you can set it so that it raises the needle out of the fabric every time you stop stitching. The next one is, I'm pretty sure this is going to be that automatic lock stitch button, and that setting is going to mean that no matter where I stop stitching, the next stitch, the first stitch when I start sewing again, is going to be an automatic lock stitch. And then this one down here is reverse, and then it has the ever lovely and oh so handy push button start stop. I'm not really sure about this speed switch though. I'm not really sure how many stitches per minute this thing is gonna do. I want to say it's 1,000 something. Let me see if it says in this little book real quick, because I cannot remember. Christ, it's got like 3 pages of parts and names of parts. I don't know. It doesn't tell me in the first couple of pages. I will figure that out and I will let you know. I know that it's going to be quite a lot though, and like I'll show you. Let me get this one up here. Unplug cord on this one because I was using this one earlier. So this one is my Singer stylus, and it has the same speed selection switch. It has push button lock stitch. It has needle up down, and then it also has start stop. This is the machine that I really like, and I have added this handy dandy light, which is on there attached by a washer, just a fender washer, I guess, but it is just stuck on there with like some alien tape or whatever. But anyhow, I digress. So that machine is kind of what made me learn about some of these features that's on this machine, and that machine has made me really want this machine. I said earlier, I'm a little bit afraid to actually like do the thing and plug the sucker in and get it rolling, but there's no time like the present, right? So let's see. Get it untwisted here. Oh, you know what? I think these are they are. So this is the cords for my stylus and for the new Janome. They're the same, but we're not going to use the Singer cord. We're going to do things the right way, and we're going to use the new one. So let's plug that in there. See if we can figure out where this beast plugs in. Man, it's super heavy. Much heavier than what I anticipated. So get it plugged in. Aim her back around here. Oh, you know what? She's going to need a name. Y'all are going to have to help me name her. So before we switch her on, let's finish unpacking her here. So that should be my needle threader. Get rid of this little piece of paper. Man, things are in such a different place than what I'm used to. So it may take me a minute if I look like I'm fumbling around. I was looking for the presser foot lever so that I could raise or lower my little presser foot here. So I am super excited. There's a bobbin in there. Let's see, I should probably get out of the way, but I can't help it. I am kind of really excited. Can't even find the on-off switch. Wait. Yes! It's alive! It's alive! In my best Dr. Frankenstein voice. But anyhow, I'm telling you. But you guys already know I'm crazy, so. Anyhow, so let's see. We'll turn the hand wheel. Ooh, okay. So that functions anyway. What I'm doing is just making sure that the needle is going to clear the foot that's on there and clear the needle plate that's on there, because the last thing I want to do is hit the go button and just send this thing into like splinters when my needle strikes something it's not supposed to. So been there, done that. Don't want to screw up my brand spanking new machine before I even sew a stitch. So I'm going to push it to the slowest speed. And we'll see what happens with start stop. Oh, start stop. I don't know if you guys could see it. When I hit it, my foot flashes up here. It's telling me that that my foot is up, and I don't want to run it. I guess I can use this. I don't want to run it without any fabric underneath. So, let's see if I can run this up a little bit more. I love this table. It's awesome. It's one of the best things I've ever made. So I'll just put some, turn my needle back up here. I'll just put some canvas under here. This is a part of my canvas drop cloth, which I made those three bags, I think, with. But anyhow, so I'll lower my presser foot. Let's hit start stop and let's see what she does. So honestly, this is probably the speed at which I will start out sewing. Honestly, because it's, I think this is probably even slower than what my Singer is that I'm used to stitching with. So, not awful. I don't dislike it. So, we'll hit stop. So it's set, okay, up, down. So it's set right now in the down position, so you can see when we hit start, stitching along nicely, hit stop. Can you guys see how that needle is down in the fabric? So that's what that button does. So I like that. So we're going to always turn the hand wheel toward you. I'm going to raise it up to the highest point. This has a hinge, so I bet. Look at that! You guys can't really see. So this is my thread take-up lever. So when you turn the hand wheel, which, gosh, I can't even reach over there. Anyway, when you turn the hand wheel, you want your needle and your thread take-up lever to stop in the highest position. And what that does is make sure that your tension discs and everything, not tension discs, that is connected to your lever. I got ahead of myself there, but it makes sure that your needle is up out of the way, because now if you lift your presser foot, now you can still see there's quite a bit of space. Maybe you can't see. Quite a bit of space between the needle point and the top of the presser foot. But this is actually kind of cool. It's a little scary to look in there and see that it's more computerized and more electronic than it is mechanical, and that scares me a little bit too, because there's a hell of a lot more to go wrong and a lot more that I cannot fix on my own. So spin her back around here where you can take a look at her. So speed. Let's crank her up about halfway. I can tell you right now, halfway is too fast. Okay. Just gonna spin my fabric around. Even though I don't have any thread in the machine and I'm not doing any actual stitches, you don't want to run your machine with your presser foot in the down position on top of those feed dogs with nothing in between, because your feed dogs are constantly doing this to try to move your fabric, and if there's no fabric in there, then it's just grating and scratching along the bottom of your foot, and that can cause grooves in the bottom of your presser foot, can cause damage. It can cause it to have little burrs and things that might catch if you sew something like chiffon or silk or something that's super thin, fine, woven, soft. I don't know, think fancy schmancy or intimate materials, or lycra. Like if you're sewing a swimsuit or something, there's enough on there that it might catch a little bit and cause a problem with your project. So that's why I'm running something underneath. So let's back down to about there and let's see what kind of speed that is. Nice. So that's still a little less than halfway. 3/4, which is too damn fast. I can't even see the needle. I can't even see the needle move at that speed. But what I really want to see, what I'm kind of excited about, is to see actually how fast it will actually stitch. So all the way up, gas pedal all the way down. Let's see what happens. That is ungodly speed. That is like entirely too fast. And I'm sure that there are people who would be able to handle this hot rod machine at full tilt, but that ain't me. Not yet. Absolutely. I've got so much to learn. I'm happy to have this machine, don't get me wrong, and I may not use every feature on it, but the features that it does have that I will learn to use, my plan at least, is to take a project and figure out a feature and use that project to learn that feature, to learn that specific part of this machine. I don't know how big this is, probably 4 inches, give or take. I have a ruler right here. Somewhere. Ta-da! Handy dandy quilting ruler. So this is about a 3-inch by 4-inch screen, roughly. So I think it may have a stylus, it may not, but this is all touchscreen. So, ooh. Wonder how that works. Huh. So that was my... Did you hear that? That's my scissors. Listen. Fancy schmancy. I have no idea even where these fancy scissor bits are located. I don't know. So much to learn. Anyhow, I was going to take the, start taking it apart, but I definitely need the book before I do that. I know just enough probably to get me into trouble. But this is, ooh, it is definitely touch. It's not push. Wider. Let's see how wide we can go here. Holy smokes. So it has a width of 9. My Singer and I think probably none of my other machines, even my brother, probably don't go beyond 6. I think. I might have another Janome, my schoolmate, might go to 7, but 9 is a super wide stitch. And then for stitch length, let's see how long a stitch length will go. Wow, it'll go to 5. And I think my other machines probably only go to about 3. So that's definitely going to be wider, longer stitches. I don't know when I would use a stitch that long unless I'm using maybe one of the specialty stitches or something like that, but definitely the width I'll use when we do zigzag. So I know that this tells me presser foot A, and let's see if it'll tell me. So Janome feet, one of their really cool things, and Janome's not the only one that does it, but the first Janome machine that I ever got was a used Schoolmate, which is one that they built for like home ec type use, and it's very, very cool. But one of the things that I like about it, you see how it tells you which presser foot it is? So it will tell you up here, this machine will tell you which foot that you need to use. And the other thing that I really like about Janome is they use snap-on presser feet. And that's not to say that Singer and Brother and some of the other manufacturers don't, because some of them do, and some of them, this is a short shank machine also. So any short shank machine foot would be interchangeable, but what I'm going to have to watch out for on this one is that stitch width. What I want to be careful of is not to use a presser foot that only has a wide enough space for like a zigzag of 6, and then my machine having a zigzag of 9 is going to be wider. I run the risk of striking the side of that presser foot and shattering my needle, driving my machine out of time, or something like that. So just something to be kind of cautious of. As far as all these other things do, I have no idea. Let's make sure my needle is in the upright position. This one says, this one is a needle position switch, like left to right. And what it says is a 1/4 inch P. So I want to press that. And I would bet what that does. Oh, they're all, if I would have looked, these are all needle positions. So this is center position, and you can see how it switches here. So this is going to be far left, and I don't have any idea what that is, except for a zigzag. I'm not really sure. But then this one, I would guess, is going to be for 1/4 inch seam allowance for quilting, like when you do piecing and that kind of stuff. So let me lower this a little bit so I can see in the top. So I'm going to have to do some reading. I really don't know why this is a special edition machine. I don't know what is special about it. I don't know what is any different with this machine than maybe with one of the other Horizon 8200s, but something I did want to see. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm actually going to move my machine for you. So I'm going to turn it off, because something that I want to show you that I knew this had a little bit, because my Janome Schoolmate, one of the things that I really like about it is it has this little flip top lid. Inside the flip top lid, it tells you what the stitches are. It tells you which needle plate to use. Ooh, I did not realize this has some alphabet stitches. It has a little bit of embroidery on it, so that might be pretty cool. It's got some really cool kind of things over here, decorative stitch-wise. It's got some hearts that are vertical. It's got some hearts that are horizontal. It's got some tulips, it looks like, some leaves, some stars, some ivy, like a Greek key. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Anyway, it's got some pretty cool stuff up here. And it will tell you, give you a little bit of information. I know my Schoolmate, which I am much more familiar with and love dearly, it will tell you what the stitch is, what your width and length maximums are, and it will tell you which foot to use. And that's what I want to get to. That's something that I'm really happy that this machine has. Let me scooch it back a little bit. Sucker is an absolute beast. So if I flip it forward so you guys can see in the top of the machine, see these little spaces right here? Let's see if I can get get my arm over. These little spaces right here, these are storage slots for your presser feet, which is very, very cool because now everything is stored up here. You can tell at a glance if you're missing one, which is a problem for some of the other machines. Like this is something that I absolutely wish Singer had, a feature that they had, but they don't. It's a horizontal spool pin, which is kind of cool. Oh, it's this I didn't realize it had. I knew it probably was going to have. Excuse me, but this little dial right here is your presser foot pressure dial. So depending on what fabric you have on your machine bed, you may want that presser foot to really squeeze it down, or you may not want to have so much pressure on there. You may want to just let your feed dogs kind of feed it through. So the thinner, maybe I might be speaking backwards, but I'm pretty sure that the thinner the fabric, the less pressure that you want. If it's thicker fabric, you want a little more pressure on there. Bobbin winder. Switches left to right to wind your bobbin. Ooh, that's cool. I just saw this. So it has a thread cutter right here. So when you wind your bobbin, you can cut your thread. Don't need to grab scissors. Spool pin goes here. Your bobbin spool is going to go on a post here, and it's going to go vertical. So you're going to put your thread here so you can, you'll wind it around through this path and then back over. But you won't have to take off the spool of thread that you actually have threaded through your machine unless you want to. I usually have more than one spool of the same color that I'm working on because I rarely have a project that, occasionally I do, but I rarely have a project that I don't have two spools of the same color. If I do, what I try to do is wind my bobbin first, or if I know that I'm going to need more than one bobbin, then I'll go ahead and wind a couple extra. And I do that because what I don't want to do, if I only have one spool of the same color, I do not want to have to unthread my machine totally, move my thread over, and then rewind a bobbin, and then rethread my machine. It's just a lot of time that, that I'd rather spend sewing, quite frankly. But these are super cool. Man, that machine is heavy. All right. See if this slides off. Okay. So it will go down to a free arm, which is out of your view at the moment. Get it cranked back up here. So free arm takes your sewing table, or some people call this an accessory tray, some people call it an extension table. Different manufacturers kind of call them different things. But anyhow, it basically just slides off and on here. But it takes your width from here to here. So it changes just to this little narrow bit here. So if you're doing cuffs, or if you're doing hems, or if you're doing something where you really don't have a lot of space on your project to get it under the machine, that's just something that will help you. I do know that the feed dogs raise and lower on this, but I have no idea how to do that yet. Oh wait, let me see how this, okay, there we go. This is something that I was going to show you too. So this slides on and off this way. It's also an accessory tray. So even while it's on there, while it's in place, you have an accessory tray that opens, which is really kind of cool. It's pretty big. So this one has space for some bobbins, a space for maybe some additional feet or something, and then this will lift out. Oh my gosh. This just is a gift that keeps on giving. This is an even feed or a walking foot, which that is important. when you're doing thick and heavy stuff, how your feed dogs feed from under the bottom, these are going to be a set of feed dogs on top that are going to kind of pull your fabric along so that they feed at the same rate, top and bottom. Otherwise, it's pulling your bottom fabric through and your top fabric is just kind of going along for the ride. And sometimes, rather than being like this, they kind of get skewed a little and get offset like that. But I digress. I think this is a buttonhole foot. But I'm way off topic. This is what I mean by distraction by shiny squirrel. You know, cool things come along and then I totally do get distracted. So, but anyhow, this is the piece that will go under the machine. So I've got all of this space here for storage, all of this space here for storage, and then this little tray that goes back in here. Kind of, not kind of, definitely very, very cool. Okay, feed dogs. How do I raise and lower? What is that? I wonder how I raise and lower my feed dogs. I don't know. I'm going to have to get the book. This is the part where I was saying like some of this stuff that I'm going to have to learn. That's going to be some of the stuff that I'm going to have to learn. But I think this pops my throat plate off. Gotta raise your presser foot, of course, Rebecca. Holy crap, it does. Okay. I don't want to break this thing, and I really wasn't sure what was going to happen. Okay. So yeah, so when I showed you the other one, there you can kind of see really good. So this is where your needle goes through. So this is what I was saying for a zigzag, your needle's going to go right down in there. And the other one, you can see how that one just has the single hole in the middle versus the wider slot. So that's going to be the difference between zigzag or decorative stitch and straight stitch only, which this is going to be very handy. One of the things straight stitch only, if you don't sew, then you're like, why do you need to? What's the point? Can't you use this for straight stitch only? You can. However, straight stitch only is a much narrower opening for just the needle to go through, and you're much less likely to get your fabric pushed down through that hole and kind of get that tangled up or have a bird's nest underneath. If you sew, you kind of know what I'm talking about, but that will hopefully reduce, if not eliminate, that problem. So now I'm just going to figure out how to get this thing back on. So very cool. I like it. It's got some weird, before I put it away, I just noticed it's got a lot more markings on the plate that a regular, the other one screws on to my little singer, or I'd pull it off and show you. But one of the things that I just noticed is that it has these diagonal lines. These are degree marks, which is going to be pretty cool. So if you're sewing half square triangles, or if you're sewing something that is a little bit where your piece is tilted a little bit, maybe, or diamonds, like for a 1 star, and I think that's when you might use some of these. But of course, it's got all the traditional spacing. I couldn't think of the word, spacing marks here. So as you run your fabric under your needle, which will strike here, then this will tell you how far away your edge of your fabric is, or how big your seam allowance needs to be. Seam allowances are different depending on your project. If you're doing traditional piecing, you might do something that's just a 1/4 inch only. If you're doing something like where the t-shirt quilts are having the panels put together, then you might use a 1/2 inch. If you're doing something in clothing or garment related, then you might use something even as much as 3 to 5/8, depending. So, but anyhow, that's what all that is. See if I can get this thing back on here. Maybe. Maybe not. Well, I have it upright, and I think it should just snap. Okay, snaps right down on there. All right, I haven't figured out yet how to raise and lower the feed dogs or It's not up there. I do like that this thing has a light here on the side, and then it also has LEDs under here. That's maybe gonna take the place of my little magnetic attachment light, which might be fun. So, but this machine is going to be a lot for me at first. I think it's kind of like when you learn to drive and you think you know what you're doing, and then you actually get a car that's maybe newer, better, faster, a little more hot rod-ish, much more responsive, does a little bit, handles a little bit differently. I think that's going to be like all the things that I'm going to need to learn with this one. I'm really looking forward to it. I cannot thank him enough for getting this machine for me. So I know that one of the things that we sometimes tend to have lively discussions about, I won't say arguments because they aren't full-on arguments. We try really hard not to tell each other what to do, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, we do discuss things and, you know, try to make decisions that are better for us as a couple and not only what's better for me. So I know that there are some people who will say, oh, I gotta ask my husband. I don't have to ask my husband anything, but I do out of respect. And I won't say that about everything, because there are some things that I just take off and kind of do on my own. Like all of my little antique sewing machines, which, you know, cost me about 20 bucks. And then now we're talking about this thing, which costs significantly more than that. This is definitely not a purchase that I would have made on my own without talking to him about. And like I said at the very beginning, maybe if part one of this video, the other video, but this is not something that I would have gone out of my way to get. So for him to kind of push me in that direction and have me order it for myself as a gift from him was actually kind of cool. It was more than kind of cool. It was very cool. I don't get really excited about a lot of things, but this I'm really excited about. Certain things about the motorcycles I'm pretty excited about too, like having Maggie May, my mentor's bike. That's I was really excited to get her in the garage also. But I digress, and that is definitely topic for another video. So, love you guys. Stay safe and keep watching, because you never know what's going to turn out and come off of this thing.